Hey, welcome back, subscribers, to my world of stocks. So, today we are continuing our little mini series here of going through some of my absolute favorite dividend stocks at the moment, right now, at today's prices for the long term. And for this episode, well, I gathered up for you guys three very beginner friendly dividend stocks for anyone that is just getting started out there in the market, is looking to become a long term dividend investor. Well, these three stocks are a great place to start as they have very simple businesses that will be very easy for you to understand and even track and stay up to date on throughout all future years. Plus, they carry some dirt cheap valuations with mouth-watering dividend yields that'll help those compounding returns get larger over time for you too, thus helping you reinvest more into dividend stocks along your journey. As always, though, please be sure to do your own research and make your own decisions. I'm just sharing with you my own personal opinions. But if you get something out of this video, then please hit that like button and especially the little hype button whenever you see it pop up in the comments as an option, because that really does help keep my channel alive and it means a lot to me. So thank you for that support, my friends. But hey, with all of that said, let's just go ahead and jump straight into this list. And hey, what a better way to kick things off here than to go with a monster Dividend King stock. And that's going to be in the tools and appliances giant Stanley Black Decker, ticker symbol SWK, who you can really find their various products just about anywhere you go, even throughout your own home and garage. If you walk by a construction site or you take a trip down to your local hardware store, really any store actually, like Target, Walmart, even throughout Amazon online. Stanley's massive lineup of legendary brands are some of the most popular and widely used in the entire world, many of which actually carry #1 market share for their respective categories. This includes names like DeWalt, Craftsman, Stanley, Black & Decker, Irwin, and more. And so for a beginner out there just getting started, well, the beauty of this business is in its blue chip simplicity, as they make the things that really everyone uses out there to build, repair, and even maintain the world. So whether it's using a DeWalt drill or a Craftsman lawnmower or a Black & Decker appliance, like I actually just bought one of their glass blenders that I love to use myself too. Well, these are things that people really rely on and they're trusted names for their durability as well. Plus, the company is even investing into new smart tools and sustainable products with a focus on new e-commerce channels as well that should help them return to growth long term. Which, if you didn't know, well, coming off of the pandemic has been really one of the most absolutely terrible environments for Stanley that they've ever had to operate in, where a slump in DIY demand coupled with inflation and high interest rates have really destroyed their margins, while the rise in tariffs made things even more challenging too. But the company isn't just sitting on their hands, as they've really integrated a more than $2 billion global cost reduction program to significantly boost their margins back up while continuing to clean up their balance sheet too, even selling their aerospace fasteners business for $1.8 billion, with the proceeds going directly towards debt reduction, making this now a much leaner, safer, and more laser focused company that is also well back on track when it really comes to tariffs as well, as the CEO even pointed out a while back, saying, quote, "We went through tariffs in the first President Trump administration. We figured out how to navigate it back then. We feel like we are well prepared to mitigate this again. It will create a modest disruption for periods of time in the short term, but a reminder to everybody is that back 7 or 8 years ago, about 40% of what we sold in the US came from China. And now we're down closer to a number that's in the mid-teens, around 15%. And by the way, they're actually aiming to get that number even lower now too, down to just around 5% by the end of this year. Yet despite the major turnaround that is taking shape, all the current fear and panic has still led to one of the biggest downturns that we've ever seen in the stock price, leaving it down around 70% of its entire value from the top and trading well below even pre-pandemic levels. That's causing the dividend yield to skyrocket now up to an even higher level than what we saw around the Great Recession time at around 4.7% now, which, by the way, what makes SWK a true beginner-friendly standout most of all is their status as a dividend king, Because even throughout all of this incredible turbulence and macro challenges, well, the company has not only paid a dividend for, I think now it's like getting to around like a century and a half straight, but they've also increased those payouts for close to 6 decades in a row, too. Even through the Great Depression, the '08 crash, the pandemic, and now through the tariff craze as well. And that's really the ultimate level of reliability for someone that is just getting started out there with a new dividend portfolio, or even for a seasoned veteran going into retirement too, all and everything in between. And yet I get all of this for a valuation that is over 30% cheaper than the sector and a whopping 55% cheaper than their own 5-year average on a forward P basis, which I think is just too good to be passing up. All right, now for stock number two, we're going to keep the theme going here for one of the most reliable and trusted names in retail, but that also has been absolutely crushed from the top. And this is one that I really like, and that's going to be in the king of dirt, Scott's Miracle Gro, ticker symbol SMG. And here's why. Now, like Stanley, if you're looking for a business that is easy to understand, it's not going to get a whole lot simpler than the stuff that you already have that you're using. It's maybe sitting in your own garage, maybe in your backyard. As Scott's is really by far the absolute largest market share holder of garden and lawn care products in the entire world. And when people go down to their local Home Depot or Lowe's, or again, even like Walmart, Target, to look for something that'll help them make their grass greener, maybe get rid of some weeds, maybe grow some fruits, vegetables, other plants, well, they most often reach for a household name like Scott's, Miracle Gro, Ortho, Tomcat, and more. And by the way, it's not just on the consumer side of things either. Like many investors, I feel, make the mistake of thinking that SMG's products are only for the do-it-yourself markets. But in fact, these products are used by all sorts of corporations, farms, municipalities, and more, for everything from maintaining professional sports fields and manicuring public parks to even large-scale commercial landscaping and agriculture, where brand name reliability is a huge requirement, not just a preference. And they also provide specialized fertilizers and pest control for industrial scale nurseries and greenhouse operators, which means as long as things are growing, whether it's for massive commercial scale or just a single tomato plant on someone's balcony, well, Scott's is very likely the one that is producing the fuel for much of that. And it's this multi-layered approach to the market that has really given SMG one of the strongest competitive moats of the past century and a half. And what makes this year in specific such a great time to be jumping into the stock too, in my opinion, is that the company is currently going through a very large transformation. Again, very similar to SWK here. And it's resulting in a very attractive stock price and dividend yield, where for the past few years, it's been weighed down heavily, the stock price, by not only the big drop-off in demand that we saw coming off of the pandemic lockdowns, but also in all the losses that they took on their Hawthorne segment, from their Hawthorne segment, I should say, because of the incredible volatility of the can market as well. And I have to use kind of code words for that. But yeah, the can market has not been doing too great recently, and that really hurt their Hawthorne division. However, as of this year, well, Scott's will actually be selling that division to another company called Vireo Growth in exchange for a large equity stake. Now, you might be thinking, wait, won't that actually hurt their future growth? Because that was always seen as a growth catalyst for SMG and for other, can growers and anyone really having exposure to the can market. But the answer is no, not really. This is not going to hurt SMG, because you have to remember that Hawthorne was actually a huge drag on SMG, costing them millions in overhead. And so by offloading that business instead, well, they get to immediately stop the bleeding while also basically getting like a lottery ticket in exchange, where if the can market ever does actually take off in the future, which it may very well do, or for example, when federal legalization finally hits, then Scott's will own a large piece of a major multi-state operator for it, thus giving them added exposure to that market as well. And so what we're left with now here as investors is a pure play, high margin consumer staples giant that gets to finally return to its roots, no pun intended. In fact, After the divestiture completes, the company is targeting huge long-term growth of an additional 1 billion in sales and a total of 1 billion in EBITDA profit by 2030. And yet because the stock price has already cratered by so much coming off the pandemic highs, losing around 3/4 of its value, well, the dividend has now risen in yield to one of the highest levels that we've ever seen in it at well above 4%, while their valuation has also dropped to even lower levels than the sector median. So to me, that screams deep value here as I really get to pick up a market leader at a valuation that's finally making sense for the long term. Which, by the way, management seems to agree with that too, as they even announced a new $500 million share buyback program, showing that they're serious about returning value to shareholders. And so when you group all of this together with the significant margin expansion back towards pre-pandemic levels, I just think we have a classic rebound story here too, for a brand that I don't think is going away anytime soon. Okay, now if you thought those last two have really well recognized brands and businesses, and wait until you see this last one here, stock number 3, because I may have actually saved the best one of all for last. And so that's going to be at dividend stock number 3 here, an even more important global player that is also beaten down heavily, and that is in the meats and poultry giant Tyson Foods, ticker symbol TSN, a company that is probably responsible for at least one of the items in your fridge right now, if not multiple. And if it isn't, you could easily drive down to just about any grocery store out there and find lots of their different products throughout the aisles, as they own one of the largest, most popular portfolios of protein brands that you could ever imagine, including Tyson, Jimmy Dean, Hillshire Farm, Ballpark, Sara Lee, Raised and Rooted, that's a big one, Bosco's, State Fair, and several more too. So whether it's fresh chicken breast, breakfast sausage, hot dogs at the park, or frozen strips and nuggets in your freezer, Tyson's reach is almost inescapable. In fact, they literally hold #1 market share for meats and poultry in all of America and #2 market share in even the entire world. It's no joke. And so for a beginner with dividends, this is a perfect example here of a simple yet highly effective business, since people will always have to eat and protein is a staple of the human diet, which even when that doesn't involve meats, Tyson even sells various vegetarian and meat alternative products too, thus providing an additional vertical for long-term growth. But what makes Tyson a great dividend pick right now specifically is that the company has been navigating what many experts have called one of the toughest, if not the worst cycle in history for the meats industry, that is now creating a huge opportunity for long-term investors like myself to buy the dip. As for the past couple years, Tyson has been dealing with a perfect storm of insanely high feed costs from inflation, which also weakens demand for their products as prices have to rise as a result too, but also extremely tight cattle supply from dwindled down populations that were even damaged further by droughts and numerous natural disasters. And all the meanwhile, it's taking place during a high interest rate environment that's going to make it much tougher to operate, hurts your margins even further too. So that's where that's what Tyson has been dealing with, just a terrible macro environment. However, as we move into the new year, the ship is finally starting to turn. In fact, in their most recent earnings report, Tyson actually beat analysts' expectations on both the top and bottom line, while also breaking a new record high of more than $14 billion in quarterly sales for the first time ever. And while their beef segment is still recovering, which by the way is also being addressed with more heifers being produced now to increase cattle populations, that's going to really we'll see the results of that over the longer term. I think it will really help in the future. But in the meantime, their chicken and prepared food segments are actually crushing it, and it's helping to make up for much of the headwinds there, with chicken delivering its 5th consecutive quarter, in fact, of volume gains. Meanwhile, management has also been pivoting hard to adjust the business and save their margins, like in the closure of a major beef plant in Lexington, Nebraska, and a shift towards single capacity in Amarillo, Texas. Now, while these are tough headlines to swallow right now, for us as investors, it does show at least that management is cutting costs where necessary to protect the bottom line until macro conditions improve. And on the bright side, much of this chaos has at least caused the stock to tank in price in the meantime, which, by the way, Tyson can often be heavily cyclical because of the nature of their business. So the best time to buy in is actually when the stock is heavily down, like it is right now. In fact, this is actually one of the biggest crashes that we've ever seen in their entire history, having lost about half of its entire value from the top, leaving their dividend yield now among the highest levels too, that even rival like the Great Recession, with a valuation that is also just as attractive, where it trades close to 40% cheaper than the sector on a PEG basis. Yet this remains one of the most iconic companies in the space that feeds a huge chunk of the world's population. They're projecting 1.7 billion in free cash flow too this year, which should continue to easily cover the dividend. And that dividend, by the way, has also been grown every single year for more than a decade straight too, making this a very attractive play here for both seasoned investors like myself and anyone just getting started in the market or with dividends, at least in my opinion. But hey, there you have it, guys. 3 of my favorite dividend plays right now to get started in 2026 and for the long term. Let me know what you think about these down below, though. And if I left out any of your personal favorites, then let me know what those are too in the comments. But make sure you're subscribed, because I actually have even more bonus dividend stocks coming your way in the next episode of this little mini series here. So stay tuned for all of that extra content. But for now, I hope you're all doing well, my friends, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Stay safe out there. Hope you're all doing well. Bye-bye.